Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Power.
Got it. My name is Art Lewin. I'm originally from Chile, and I came here when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
As an immigrant, just my dad brought us here to search for a better life. Really wanted to do, and at 22 years old, in 1989 is when I ran into clothing, and it kind of changed my life. And I ran into a guy like me in 1989, right, almost 30 years ago.
What drove you to?
Competition.
Okay.
I'm very competitive.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unleash Your Power. My name is Jeffrey Pinzon. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today I have the great pleasure of interviewing someone who started selling vacuum cleaners door to door. He also sold pagers. Some of you guys don't know what a pager is, so make sure you guys Google that. He also sold cell phones, life insurance, water, and over 22 other jobs before the age of 22 to now owning a multiple seven-figure company. Since 1989, this gentleman has dressed and catered to some of the world's most prominent corporate professional, Hollywood superstars, and many other industry titans. With bespoke clothing suits, shirts that are selected from over 4,000 distinctive clothing cloths and imported from the world's most finest mills, Italy, England, Scotland, and France. Without further ado, please help me welcome a great friend of mine that I've learned tremendously from. I admire this gentleman, the one and only Mr. Art Lewin.
Thank you.
Brother,
thank you.
Thank
Jeffrey,
you for having me here today.
I appreciate you guys coming and driving all the way to my house. This is my new home, my new life.
Man, and I gotta say, you have a beautiful, beautiful home, man.
Thank you.
The way that you guys designed this, your wife and you guys have an eye to detail and love it. I love the pool. I love the whole inside, and I'm very grateful to be here with you today, Art, because I've known you for a couple years and you've inspired me to be better, and I'm sure that you've inspired many other people, and I know that a lot of people are going to get a ton of value from your story because you have a powerful story. Having 22 jobs before the age of 22,
that's right.
That says something about you, that you're seeking that greatness. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your background, where you're from, and how did you get started into the bespoke clothing company?
You got it. My name is Art Lewin. I'm originally from Chile, and I came here when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
As an immigrant, just my dad brought us here to search for a better life, and coming here not knowing any English, I had to work a little extra harder than my friends growing up. I still have an accent today, and right, and that just made me push a little harder. Dropping out of school, I had no choice but to get into sales because sales was the easiest way to make some good money.
Right.
And but when I say dropping out, I don't mean dropping out of the world. I mean dropping out just out of school because it's funny. It's they tell you need a college degree to go and work for somebody,
right,
for a company, but you don't need one to be self-employed. So being in sales, you're pretty much self-employed, and having those 22 jobs, I was searching for what I really, really wanted to do. And at 22 years old, in 1989 is when I ran into clothing, and it kind of changed my life. I loved it. I've always liked to enjoy dressing up. Coming from Chile, being poor, on Sundays you put on your best clothes and you go see the family. You know how it is, right? So
go to church.
Yeah, right. So I really enjoyed it, and I found my niche. So that was it. That was in 1989.
Who introduced you to the clothing?
Well, I was selling. That's a good one. So I was door knocking. I was door knocking.
Nice.
I was selling pagers. So you guys.
Business to business?
Business to business.
Okay.
So I was just going down the street, down the block,
okay,
knocking on doors, and I ran into a guy like me in 1989, right? Almost 30 years ago. And he says, yeah, I'll take one. And no, I'll take two, he says. And
Two pagers.
And back then I wasn't selling your $9 pagers, I was selling your $100 pagers a month. Because it included, like almost texting today, it's called an alphanumeric message, which means if you want to say, Jeffrey, meet me at Pizza Hut, it'll say that on the pager.
Oh, wow.
Back then it was just numbers, right? You don't know because you're too young.
No, I remember pagers.
Yeah.
I had a pager.
So this was called an alphanumeric pager. That's why it was 10 times more the monthly cost. So he bought 2, and it piqued my interest. I said, why do you need 2 if you're a custom tailor?
Exactly.
He says, well, I also have a real estate company. And I was naive. I was 22 years old, right? I didn't think that you're allowed to have 2 companies, right? And that kind of got me interested. And then when I delivered those pages a few weeks later, he liked my style, and he hired me.
Wow.
The rest is history,
Wow. So he took you under his wing, and he started mentoring you and how to get into that industry.
So by that time, I had 21 jobs selling. I was an awesome salesman. So what we did, I increased his business like 60%, and it just getting better. And I taught him how to go and sell clothing door to door, because that was unheard of back in the day, right?
So you were a salesman at the time.
Yeah.
So you were still not tailoring suits or any of that? Okay.
No.
So how did you get into that?
So a couple years after I was working with him, I said to him, listen, I'm going to move on. He says, no, let's open something together. And we opened up a store, another location in Encino in the Valley, next to a Rolls Royce dealership.
Wow.
And we became business partners. And that was in 1991, right at the Kuwait War was hitting. So it was really bad timing. So we kind of pushed through for about a year and a half, and then I said, you know what, I gotta go. So we kind of went our ways. He went bankrupt, and I just advanced. I went to work for the largest companies that do what I do now.
Which was
one was called Tom James. They were $500 million company. Wow. They had 3,000 guys just like me, same person. They hire you by personality.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you don't amount to that personality, that criteria, you didn't get the job. So I got the job, and within months, out of 3,000 people, I was number 3 in the world. And I decided,
What drove you to?
Competition.
Okay.
I'm very competitive.
Nice.
And the only reason I was number 3 is because the other 2 were there like 20-something years, and they had a client base. There's no way back in those days, they were making like $1 million a year.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty motivating, and that's what did it.
What made you come out with your own company?
Great question. So this same company sent me a profit and loss statement. Nobody knows this. I haven't shared this before. So they sent me a profit and loss statement in December 1996. And it said, I made X amount, I made them X amount. And I said, wait a second. So if I don't have this company, I'll make this amount and I'll make that amount, right? And so I started planning my way out. December. By April 2nd, 1997, I went on my own.
Did they tell you anything when you decided to go on your own?
Oh yeah, they got a psychiatrist on me. They got a doctor. They brought a priest.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
They thought I had a problem. They thought I had issues, because why would I leave if I was number 3 in the world? So they thought there was some issues, but there wasn't.
Wow. So how was that? So now you have your own company. You're on your own. You got to hire your own people. Now you're a business owner.
Right.
And not just a salesperson.
Right.
Now you transition to another level.
Right.
How was that transition for you?
So for many years, I was a one-man shop, right?
Right.
I was a one-man shop, and I was working out of my house, and then I decided to open up a store, and it just blew up from there. Then I started hiring people. Then I opened up another store, hiring more people, and we just kept building. And my dream was to, have a $10 million company back then, and that happened years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how important is to leverage yourself and having great people in your company? Because now you spend most of your time relaxing, and so how has that been so important?
The hardest part when I started hiring really a larger staff was in 2009, right after the recession hit, and I just had to do it because I was a control freak. Almost all business owners are control freaks, right? And I didn't want to let go of my calendar, my actual paper calendar, right? So one day I said, you know what, Lisa, who's still with me, I said, take over my calendar. You book my appointments. and I'll be on the road selling what I do best. And obviously now we use a CRM system that 3 people know my calendar. Their job is to book me appointments. All I do is wake up in the morning now
and do what you do
and
best.
do what I do best. Go and meet with people, and these people that are number one, they've been. We already asked them a few questions if they could afford us. Number one.
What's the average suit?
About 3,000.
About 3,000.
3,000. Okay. So the average client comes in, they'll buy a suit, they'll buy 6 shirts. That's $5,000.
Wow.
You know.
How did you get into dressing Hollywood stars?
Another great question. The reason, knowingly that my Beverly Hills, I needed a Beverly Hills address, right? And knowingly that my competitors were in the 80s and 90s, I opened up Beverly Hills because I was the young kid on the block.
How important was that? Having that Beverly Hills.
That was huge because that changed my life.
Wow.
Just having that Beverly Hills location, my business skyrocketed. It was the best investment I've ever done. It cost me a lot. It hurt.
Did you have fear when you did that?
Oh yeah.
I know the brand out there.
Oh yeah. So to rent a store in Beverly Hills is super, super, super expensive, and then I had to put people there. Then I had to invest in the store itself, and it was, yes, I was scared, but did I show it to anybody? No, right? No, I held it within me. But yeah, I was scared. I was nervous. I was putting up a lot of money, but it was a lot of money, but that little money I put up, it multiplied that first year. Yeah, it worked.
Wow.
It worked. It was the best decision, one of the best decisions I've ever done.
Who was your first celebrity?
My first
Do you
celebrity.
remember?
God, no, I've been dressing celebrities my entire career, but on my own, my first celebrity I think was William Shatner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from Star Trek and Priceline. No, Priceline.
Yeah.
Right, the gray suit.
Yeah.
That was me.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I know, like, the time that I've known you, you talk about you don't sell a suit. You
Yeah.
sell a feeling.
Yeah.
You sell something deeper than just a suit.
Right.
The way that they're gonna feel, the way that they're gonna see themselves. Like, you're selling a story behind it.
Right.
How important is that with sales? Because I know that a lot of people, they're just out there to close a transaction, and you're not. You're there to develop a relationship with them. You're there to inspire them to feel, to be in that state of, man, I'm buying a $5,000, $20,000 suit.
Right.
Like, to be in that state.
Right. So being in sales for all these years, you learn psychology, really. I studied a lot of psychology. I still study today, right? Because people buy feeling. They don't really buy the product. They buy the feeling. When you go on you're driving, let's say you're gonna go buy a nice car, you say, man, I'm gonna feel good when I'm driving that car. I'm gonna feel important. Whatever that feeling that you think you might feel, it's why you're buying that car, right? Some people say, I want to impress my friends, right? I want to impress me. I want to impress my wife. But you're buying the feeling. There's nothing better, and I call this the mirror effect, right? Think about going on that first date, right? You with your wife, right?
Right.
You're like all excited. You're in the shower. You've heard me just say this before. You're in the shower. You're soaping down. You're like, man, what is she doing? She's in the shower. She's doing the same thing. She's looking pretty. You're looking handsome, right? And right before you walk out of the door, what do? You look yourself in the mirror and say, damn, I look good.
Yeah.
Damn, I look good, right?
Yeah.
And that's that feeling that you need to have when you get out of your house to go sell. You want to feel confident. You want to feel good. You want to smell good, right? All these little things that go behind the scenes that most people don't even think about.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this, Art. Like, you talk about having a strategy, something that you call Toma?
Yeah.
That is the top of my awareness, correct?
Top of mind awareness, yes.
Yeah. What is that? How have you implemented that in your business?
Well, today, back in the day, TOMA means top of mind awareness. Back in the day, there was only 2 ways you could get a hold of people, either by a phone call or by send them a letter, right? A real letter, right? Today, there's so many ways. You could use a CRM system. You send them an email, right? You could send them a flyer. There's different ways to stay on top of their mind, because there's competition all around us. Doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Right.
If they forget about you and somebody else comes along and offers them clothing, I don't want them to forget me, right? So always TOMA.
TOMA.
Top of mind awareness.
What, what did your mom say when you got into the clothing business, and how did she feel about that? Because it's a commissions job, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've never had a salary. So.
Okay. So how did she feel about that? Because
I mean, my mom was really proud of me because in those other 21 jobs I had, right, I did really, really well in all of them. Remember, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
But I didn't, selling insurance, I didn't like selling paper, right? Pagers, I had to go door to door. It's a pain, but it's one of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had, right? It's better than paying $200,000 to go to college. I mean, going door to door and doing it the old school way.
What did you learn in doing door to door?
Oh my God, people skills. How to answer, where to stand. When you stand and knock on a door, where do you stand? Do you stand right there, or do you back away? You back away.
Absolutely.
Right? You give them their space.
Yeah.
You give them their space until they get to know you. Then I say, hey, what's up, Jeffrey? Right? And I call you by name. I look eye contact. I touch you. Touch is very important, right? Because now I'm getting you into my aura, right?
Right.
So I'm making you feel comfortable. I'm making, hey man, we're friends now, right?
Yeah,
now we're buddies.
Yeah.
So you get them on your side.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
very important.
That's very important
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, and you have to know when to do this, right?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Jeffrey, thanks me, man. Thank you. Right? You have to know when to do that. It's very important. If you do it too early, they're like, do it, right?
Yeah.
I almost said what the fuck.
It's all good. You can
Right?
cuss here, so it's cool.
So
why clothing?
Clothing.
You did so many stuff. Why?
I did so many exciting stuff, but clothing, it's kind of just hit me. It's like my mother always used to dress nice. My dad dressed nice. They dress up nice, and it just hit me. And I like the caliber of people that I was bringing in, because the caliber of people that I was working with, they were way above me, and I wanted to be like that. That's what I wanted.
You wanted to be surrounded.
I want to
with
be
that
surrounded
proximity.
about success, because think about it. Not everybody could afford $3,000 suit. The people that can are a whole different level, and at that time, I wanted to be at that level.
It's funny you mentioned it, because the other day I was having a conversation with my daughter. I was taking her to school, and she's like, "Daddy, why are you interviewing so many millionaires?" And I'm like, "Well, baby, I want to get to that level.
Yeah.
I wanna learn from them. They have the tools, they have the strategies, they have the systems."
Right.
I'm like, if I interview somebody that doesn't know how to make money, what am I gonna learn from them? And it hit her. She's like, "Well, I'm not gonna learn anything." She's like, "Oh, Daddy, it makes sense that you're interviewing successful people, because that's where we want to get to." And it's exactly what you said. You wanted to get, because you service a lot of billionaires, millionaires,
Mm-hmm.
and what are things that you've learned from them that you've applied in your life, in your business, the way that you carry yourself? Because I know that being around that proximity is it got you to where you're at today.
That another great question, because I tell people I see about 8 to 12 millionaires every day.
Wow.
For the last 30 years, right? So I'm getting little MBA courses, PhD courses throughout my lifetime. I stand different today. I talk different than I talked back in the day, right? My mannerisms are different because I learn from them. I mimic them, right? And I ask them questions like you're asking me questions. What is it that separated you from the rest?
Yeah.
Well, I have a system. Well, I have this, right? I did this. I wake up early in the morning. I do, the easy things in the morning, get it out of the way, and do the harder things the day goes, or vice versa, however your schedule is.
Mm-hmm.
I learn so much stuff, and 8 to 12 times a day is I get my little MBA courses.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome.
From my clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're willing to share it with you right away, right?
I mean, when you ask, you'll get, right? If you don't ask, you won't get anything. So I ask everybody. And
so true.
Right? If you don't ask, it's, and I'll ask for a long time. I was asking, so tell me just specifically, what was it? Well, I went to Harvard, I went to the best colleges, and I was the best in my class. Perfect. That's one way, right? That's one way. It's a long way, right? I wanted it now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I said, what was it with you? Oh, I have a system. I wake up at 7 in the morning. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this every single day. Well, guess what I did? I made 36,000 calls a year.
Wow.
34,500 people tell me no, right? So that means I have 400 or 500 prospects. Out of 400 or 500 prospects, this is my formula, right? I'll sell half of them, so 200 clients a year, right?
Okay.
And I just kept doing it. How many people you think will continue getting 34,500 no's a year? Not many.
Not many.
That's what separates me from a lot of other
That was
salesmen.
my next question right there. What separates you from everybody else?
that's-
Because there's a lot of people, and now with technology, like people are able to promote themselves, promote their companies and everything. Yeah, what separates you from all those other competitors? Like
Right.
what sets you apart? Because there's a lot of people that are in the industry, but they're not as successful. And they fall off. You've
Yeah.
been doing this for 30 years already, so
Yeah.
you've had your success.
So what separates me today is it's just the brand. You know, the brand. You know, it's just like you know, if I want to go buy a Ferrari, why do I want a Ferrari? Because I know the Ferrari is the best sports car out there, right? Why should I go buy a Rolex? Because a Rolex makes me feel good, right? People say, oh, I want to go buy an Art Lewin suit because it makes me feel good, and I bought it from Art Lewin. You know, who he dresses so and so, right? Who's who? The rich people, celebrities, you know.
Yeah.
So you want to be involved in that.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what separates us.
Okay. And what locations do you have right now?
So right now we are in our main locations is downtown LA,
Okay.
Beverly Hills, Scottsdale, San Diego, Palm Springs.
Okay. Awesome. So
Yeah.
you guys are expanding in a lot of
Yeah.
places. That's
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I know that it wasn't all success, right?
No.
There were some pivotal moments in your life that changed your career, your business, and the way that you implemented your business. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I know that
Sure. You know,
if you're okay with it.
yeah, sure. In the last, and I'll go back to when I started. In the last 30 years, I've gone through 2 divorces, 2 bankruptcies, 2 recessions. It's a lot of stuff, right? So you have to be kind of prepared for all this stuff mentally,
How do you prepare for that?
and financially, you know. So you have to be prepared inside your head. No matter what comes, what obstacles come at you, you have to make it through. And the hardest one was in 2007, 2008, when everybody was losing. My millionaire clients were losing their homes. They were losing their cars. They were losing their material stuff, you know. But when it comes down to it, material doesn't really mean anything. It's just you have to be able to get over that and continue pushing forward. You know, you have to kind of forget. I don't watch TV. Right? I don't know what's going out there in the world. I just do my thing and I'm like a racehorse with my blinders on.
With your blinders,
right?
yeah.
I'm going after my goal no matter what's in my way. Right?
Right.
So.
And how did you surpass it? Because you went through the recession
Yeah.
and everything.
So in 2000.
You had to reinvent your company, right?
Yes. So in 2008, it was for me. It was the toughest year ever.
2008.
Right? 2008. Right after it started hitting my clients at 2007, but it hit me in 2008.
At that point, you already had 2 divorces, or
Yeah, I had 2.
and 2 bankruptcies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, when shit hits the fan, things happen all around you. You know, personally, financially, mentally, right? And 2007, 2008, I got hit with 3 things. I got hit with the recession. I almost lost my mother due to cancer, and I got hit. Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And then I got hit with IRS fraud audit. So I got hit really, really hard, and I went into a little bit of depression. Most people don't know this, right? I was waking up late, 11:30, 12. I'm like, man, what am I doing? This is not you, Art, right? So I had to kind of wake myself up because I don't have somebody behind me. Hey, Art, wake up! You got to do this.
You gotta go work.
No, I'm the one, right?
Right.
So I pushed myself in 2007, 2008 to reinvent myself. So back in that day, my name was Art Lewin Clothiers, the company name.
Okay.
So I took out Clothiers and I put in Bespoke. And Bespoke is an English term that the wealthy know, right?
That
And
stands for tailor.
it stands for custom made for you from scratch.
For you, from
Right?
you. All right.
And it could be anything. It could be a bespoke, sweatshirt. It could be bespoke patio furniture. It could be anything, but it's made just for you.
For you.
Yeah. So in 2008, during that hard time, I was researching, man, what am I going to do? And so I took out Clothiers, I put in Bespoke, I raised my suit prices $1,000 in recession.
Wait. Okay. So, average suit, how much were you selling at that time?
At that time, it was $14.95.
And the recession just hit, and instead of you lowering your
lower,
standards,
I went up
you raised your standards.
$1,000, yeah. So I want to separate myself from the average person to the rich people, and it worked. and it worked.
Oh man, what did people tell you when you did that?
Well, they thought I was crazy.
I bet.
They thought I was crazy because everybody's going through recession, but there's still a lot of multimillionaires and billionaires out there that could afford it, and that's who I went after, and that kind of changed me. I mean, that was.
How did you target that market?
By putting that word bespoke, because I knew I researched like crazy, and I knew that the wealthy went after bespoke tailors in England.
Wow. Okay, so that's where the word comes from.
So I have people coming from England just to come and see me because I'm a bespoke tailor here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's beautiful right there.
Yeah, right.
From England coming all the way to.
In their private jets.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know that you've flown in private jets and everything.
Yeah.
What is the most absurd thing that this industry, this business has taken your life to that you're like, man, like this is something that the average person is never gonna get to experience, that you appreciate experiencing?
My lifestyle has, it's been awesome. There's downs, there's ups, but there's little downs, there's higher ups. When I first started in this business, the tailor that recruited me, he flew me private. I didn't even know what limousines were, right? I grew up, I'm a kid from the streets, right? So he put me in a limousine. We went in a private jet to Vegas. He got this humongous suite, right? He had his wing, I had my wing. I'm like, wow, this is the lifestyle. So that kind of got me in the clothing business. That's another one that locked me in. Because I'm like thinking, how does this guy can make so much money just in custom clothing business? But I figured it out. So, and years later, that was my lifestyle for a while too.
So what do you do now? How do you allocate your finances so you could continue living that lifestyle no matter what happens? You still get to maintain that.
Well, great question. One of my 21 jobs prior to this job, I was a financial planner. Okay. I worked for MetLife, so I was selling financial planning. I was selling life insurance, and they taught me how to save. So I've been saving since I was 19.
Can you share a little strategy with the audience on how do you save?
So this is what I do. I've always done it. Let's say I make $100, right? I'll take $15 of that, or whatever I can afford. I could afford minimum $15, and I put it away. Okay, I don't touch it for anything, and my wife will testify to that.
So like
right?
15%,
15, 20%, okay. Sometimes 50%. It just depends how much at that time I could afford, right? So I've been saving for a long, long time. I invest.
How important is to be frugal then? Because I'm sure you were frugal in the beginning.
Yeah, I was frugal, and I'm still, it depends. Sometimes I'm frugal. I don't like to go to the market because I know I could go to the hood market and buy stuff for 50%, but we go to a regular market. I don't like to see how much we spend, so I don't like to go. I'm frugal there, but I used to go out and get bottle service all the time, 4 or 5 times a week, spend hundreds, thousands a night, and I didn't care.
Wow.
But that's the lifestyle of today. It was never like that then, right? But being able to save for all these years and to invest in real estate, it gets you to a point that today I could kind of chill a little bit more.
So you're earning your money from the bespoke
from
company,
the bespoke my branches.
Parking your money in real estate.
In real estate, yeah.
Okay. Is there other ventures that you're planning on?
Well, I have an online travel company. I have a little small Expedia.
Oh wow!
Okay, so I think I'm gonna get into health supplements. So I'm always searching for stuff, right? Wow. I'm always searching.
So what drives you right now, Art?
Just
like what continues to drive you and get better every day and be more of a contribution. And honestly, like since I've met you in Facebook, and right away when I connected and I started looking at your page, like, and man, I'm like, this is somebody that I need to be around. And I remember the first day that I met you was in that company that you had, PBN, networking company. I went and I got exposed to so much what you're talking about. Things that he's talking about, he gets exposed to 8 different millionaires a day. I got exposed to it for a couple hours. And that just changed my mind. My life completely, the way that I saw everything. I even texted my wife that day and I'm like, baby, I feel so out of place because there's so many successful people. I was broker than broke. I had too much month at the end of my money, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've been there.
And being around you, like seeing you going out there, being so positive. You're always so positive. I've never seen anything negative coming from you at all. How do you maintain that? Because I'm sure that you're gonna have days that you're like, man, forget to. Like,
I've had really bad days. Even yesterday was a bad day. there was a huge shooting in Thousand Oaks. My kids live in Thousand Oaks. That was a bad day, Now today there's a fire over there, so it's another bad day, I'm way over here, my kids are way over there, so it's those are bad days. But I ask my clients as well, what keeps you always positive? All of them say I'm a professional. You'll never know when I have a bad day, right? Because people don't want to be around negativity, right? People want to be around positivity, right? That's what I attract, right? So you have to have that thing that you have to learn how to be able to attract people without saying a word, right? Like how I attracted you through Facebook. You saw my pictures, you're like, man, this is a nice lifestyle, right? I need to get to know this guy, right?
Yeah. You saw I reached out to you right away,
right? and I did the same thing to other people, We always look up to somebody, right?
Yeah.
So that's the PBN thing. It's another thing. PBN stands for Professional Business Network. I started that in 2008 because I needed to max out to get me through this hurdle of that recession. So I started this business networking thing to have 30, 50 virtual salespeople out there selling for me.
That was genius.
That was genius.
And at the same time, you leverage and you get to build your database.
Exactly.
That was genius right there.
Yeah. So back in that, and within a year, I had 10,000 highly successful people in my network. Yeah, I still do.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that from right there, that helped you.
So that really helped me. Yeah, that's another part. Changing my name, Bespoke, starting that PBN company, it went like this. In 2009, I made twice as much I made in 2008. 2010, I made twice as much as I made in 2009. 2011, I made 4 times as much.
Wow.
It just started going like that, just by having a great network.
Yeah. How important is that, having that network?
I mean, imagine whoever you are out there, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in finance, whether you're in car sales, having 50, 100 people selling for you. And as a referral source. I mean, it's awesome. It's just, you're just multiplying yourself. They're called virtual salespeople. Because I'm hoping with you, Jeffrey, when the word custom clothing comes up, bing,
Absolutely.
Art Lewin comes up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's a referral.
Yeah.
So we live today is off referral, the service that you give, and then it expands out.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's very key because that's how I've been able to build my business and grown through networks, through relationships, building lasting relationships, because at the end of the day that's gonna help you get to those levels, and they're gonna help you get to that connect. People that you might not know that they know.
You know how the connection process works even with LinkedIn. You're just one step away from the person that, or maybe 2 steps away from the person that you want to get to.
Yeah.
And it's super, super important.
Yeah. So what are some goals, some things that you have in mind for the next 5 years? Where's your company going? Where's your life going? What are things that you're seeking for right now?
I think my life. This is my last stop. I mean, it's in home wise. I've been wanting to semi-retire here or retire to Palm Springs for my entire life. I did it, but personally wise, yes, I'm going to continue growing in my business. Yes, I'm going to continue investing in real estate. Somebody told me a long time ago, Art, you will be rich in clothing, but you're not going to be wealthy. And I didn't get it at the time, right? I didn't get it.
You heard that?
Right? You're going to be
Can you
rich
repeat that?
Art, you're going to be rich in clothing, but you're not going to be wealthy. And at that time,
Did that bother you when they said that?
Yeah, I didn't get it because I thought, I was going to be rich. Rich means wealthy. No, it doesn't. Wealth means you being out here right now at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, right? That's wealthy. That's like I don't need to be at work, right? Mm-hmm. The money's growing itself. My real estate investments are paying dividends, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that back then, right? When he told me that, I was 25 years old, and so from that point forward, I started investing in real estate.
What made you park your money in real estate?
It's a sure thing. I remember buying my first house in 1993. Right?
Yeah.
I bought it for about $250,000 back then, and you look back at what the lady bought it from, 1959. She spent $14,000. She sold it to me for $250,000. I'm like, ding, something is wrong. So that house that I bought for $250,000, I sold it 4 or 5 years later for $600,000. I'm like, this is it, right? So I just made sense. So no, real estate, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
you can't. It's always going to grow.
Absolutely. What are I see you traveling a lot, Art.
Mm-hmm.
What are things that you've learned by traveling to different countries? They've seen different cultures. What are things that you've learned being around different people?
How lucky I am. You know, how lucky where I live, because I like to travel to third world countries, like Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, Southeast Asia, South America, Mexico. My wife and I travel quite a bit, and you look around, you know, sometimes even some of the hotels are nice hotels, but sometimes the water doesn't work because the whole city water stopped working, right? So you feel, man, I'm lucky. Number one, living in America. Number two, just lucky just where I'm at today. And the culture, you learn about the culture, the experiences, the food, the smells.
It makes you appreciate
yeah,
things more.
it makes you appreciate all the little things.
Absolutely.
You know, if you haven't traveled, and I came from another country, Chile, and over there was times that you turn the light and it doesn't work just because it didn't work. Or if you want to take a shower, the shower didn't work. Or I always had to take a cold shower because the hot water, there was no hot water. And you appreciate all the little things, you know.
I bet today you turning on that hot water, you're
Oh yeah.
like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you saw my shower. I can get
man.
right water from all angles. Even the pool, I can make it hot.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful house, Art.
Thank you.
And I love it, and
I appreciate it.
It's inspired me. I'm sure that Caesar is inspired by being here. It's a phenomenal experience. What are things that you could share with other people that are maybe trying to get into your space, into the bespoke clothier, or any entrepreneur that wants to be successful and they don't want to be stuck in that 9-to-5 environment, like, because a lot of people want to go out there, but they have that fear, they have that doubt, they have that limited belief. They start having conversations and they stop before they even take the first step.
Yeah.
And we get paralyzed.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of that myself. Even doing this, I've been thinking about doing this for the last 2 years until I'm like, man, forget this. I'm just gonna do it. If I mess up in the process,
You're all gonna mess up. You know, it's another great question. What I did, being in the clothing business, I wanted to be in the clothing business. I went to work for guys who were in the clothing business. I went to work for the biggest companies that do what I do back then. And I just picked the best part of each company that I worked for, and I started my own. So if you want to be a real estate agent, maybe you want to have a mentor as a real estate agent first. You know, hang around them.
So you don't recommend them going out?
No, I don't recommend them. Oh, a real estate agent's different because they kind of train you, but you need backup money because you're not going to make money for 6 months or so. So I would say go and work around the company. Go donate time around the number one agent in that office. That's what I did. When I was selling life insurance, I went to work. I sat right next to the number one producing agent. So I was listening to the way he did everything, and that's how I was able to pick up a lot of stuff and just learn quick. And then once you're ready, then you go on your own. You know,
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is, if you want to get into a clothing business, don't just open up a store. It just doesn't happen like that. You know, go to work at the clothing store that you want to work for. Let's say you want to go sell suits at Nordstrom. Perfect. Go sell suits at Nordstrom. Learn from them. Then go to Macy's. Go to Barney's.
Go
right?
to Art Lewin.
Come to me, right? And I do that all the time, you know. So I teach people how to get in the business. I'm always looking for people, by the way, good salespeople.
Yeah, absolutely. And how is that? I bet that's like one of your ultimate fulfillings, being able to help out someone else and showing them the ropes and seeing their growth, their success.
I mean, I love it. It's when I see a couple of my top guys, you know, for example, Doug in Scottsdale, coming.
And he's killing it out
there. He's
there.
killing it.
I see. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, he's killing it. I mean, there's, you know, and I don't want to throw figures to just brag, but you know, when you're having $28,000 months, it's damn good. You know, coming from a $50,000 a year job.
That's where he came from.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you know.
How did he connect with you?
Great question. So, I invested in properties in Arizona, and I went with my best friend, and we went to a nightclub, and he was my VIP host. So I went there every time I went to Arizona, like once or twice a month. We went to this nightclub, right? And I got bottle service, right? And bottle service ain't cheap, you know. Paying $400 or $500 for a bottle of vodka, you know, 2 of them, right? And with my buddy, so it got Doug curious, and he finally asked me, Art, what do you do? Because back in the day, I used to go to nightclub and dress up in a suit. I go, this is what I do. I show him my label. He said, what? You have a clothing company? And that's how it got going. He followed me for about 2 to 4 years without getting paid. He followed every time I was in Scottsdale. He followed me around, right? He says, wow. So I opened up his eyes, and we decided to, let's do this. He's ready. We open up a location in Scottsdale. Now look at him. That's 4 years later.
From making $50,000 a year to making $20,000-$30,000 a month now. Wow.
You know, and that's just the beginning. He's gonna make a lot more later.
Wow. So what are areas that you guys are planning on expanding?
I think we want to do. We're looking into Orange County.
Okay.
I would like to do Vegas someday. You know, I think that would be enough. You know, I'm not greedy. I don't want the entire world, and I want to be local. I don't want to be nationwide or worldwide.
Right.
You know, people ask me that all the time. I said no, because I could go from here to LA in an hour and a half. I could go to San Diego in a couple hours. I could go to Scottsdale 3.5 hours. Yeah. So I'm very local. Or get on a plane and be there within an hour.
More exclusive, right?
Yeah, it's more exclusive. And when these guys want my attention, I could be there in an hour.
Right.
You know, I could pick up and go. If a VIP client comes in and says I want to meet Art Lewin, I'll fly up there, get on a jet and go.
Let me ask you this: maybe what's the most that you've made in a transaction selling suits? If you don't mind me asking that.
I'll tell you.
Yeah. Wow.
1 hour.
Wow.
1 hour. Sorry, I take it back. 2 hours. Wow. 2 billionaire Asian guys.
That's insane, guys.
Oh, you heard?
That's insane.
Yeah, in 2 hours, I've made more than most people make in a lifetime.
How did you feel at that moment?
I was like, wow.
Were you Star Trek? Like.
I remember going back when I first made, you know, my job, my goal when I first started is to make $5,000 a week, and I did, and then I remember when a big baller came in and sold, I made about 30-something thousand in 1 hour. I'm like, holy shit, it's like insane. You know, there's so many people out there with so much money that for them dropping 30, 40, 50,000 is nothing. You know, I have billionaires flying in a private jet to come see me, and they'll drop 100, 150, 200, a lot more. And it's like no big deal to them because they're in a whole different level. I had a prince come in, he wanted a suit for every day of the year. You know, I mean, this weird things happen. You know, it's like, whoa, where did that come from, right? It's like these people wear the suit one day and that's it. Next.
Wow.
I mean, it's.
And you got connected with these people by other people connecting you? Or?
Yeah, by referrals, by, you know, it's, just by referrals.
Wow.
And by the name, the brand.
The name, the name speaks for itself.
We're number
quality,
one. We're number one in the country doing what we do.
Yeah. You've won a lot of awards.
A lot of awards.
You've been at the Oscar multiple times. Yep. Like a lot of people. Is there someone that you haven't been able to dress that you like? Man, this is someone that I would love to be able to. Hey, I'm wearing my Art Lewin.
Yeah, I mean, there's people I've been after even 20 years later. You know, I'm still calling them. You know, they call me Mr. Perseverance, Mr. Persistent. You know,
how do you do that?
Just
20 years later, and you're still going at it, even though they said no.
You know,
for 20 years.
Next Thursday, I have a client. I've been after him since 1994.
And he's finally gonna convert into a
and
client.
this guy is a huge PR guy. I can't tell you the name, but he protects all the celebrities. So this guy's gonna get me into a lot of other celebrities. So you know when things go wrong with celebrities, this guy cleans it up and makes it nicer looking for the media.
Wow.
You know?
That's gonna be wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I've been after him since 1994, somewhere in there.
And imagine that if you would have stopped.
Yeah. So I mean, it happens all the time. On Tuesday, I book clients that I haven't seen or people that I've been after for 3-4 years. They finally say yes. You know. So it's like yes. You know, it makes you feel good.
Do you practice visualization?
Every morning.
Declaring it. How important is that to you? Because I know, like, when you're talking about, like, right now, money and everything, like, a lot of people, like, for example, like that guy dropping $100,000-$200,000, like that's a lot of money for other people. But you said there's abundance, there's money everywhere. There's no shortage of it. But sometimes we get caught up in our conversations and in our limiting beliefs that there's not enough money, or that's not possible for us. Right. How do you visualize yourself? Like, man, this is what I want. This is how I see my life. How do you do that?
I mean, every morning I visualize, right? I take time out. I go in my office. I take time out for myself. I look at my day and I see everything, every client that I'm going to see. I see what I'm going to sell them, and we play a game sometimes with my wife or my other people in the company. And I said, this is what I'm going to sell them. I'm going to sell them 2 suits, 6 shirts, and this. They're like, no way. Yep, way. I'm going to sell this guy 4 suits, 8 shirts, and this. He said, yep. It happens every time because I visualize it in my mind, and I kind of know where they're at, because to come see me, you have to have money. Right. You have to. Right? It's like if you're gonna go buy a Rolls Royce, you better have some money, right? Right. It's like, so that's the kind of client that we see, and we pre-qualify every client. I don't see people that can't afford me. Why? It's a waste for everybody. Waste of time, yeah. Right? So we ask 4 qualifying questions, and we move forward from there. Yeah, and that's not putting people down. It's just he has a standard. There's a standard for his company and everything. I don't want to sound like a snob. But if we can't make something happen, why waste each other's time? I mean, exactly. Time is the most valuable asset that we have now, and I can't afford to waste time. So it just doesn't make sense. So as long as it's doable, then it makes sense. Let me ask you this: how did you meet your wife? I met her October 2007. Oh, you even know the day and everything. Woo! Yeah. Where was that at? And it was in downtown LA. Okay. I was living in a loft, and I was dating somebody at the time, but I invited another girlfriend of mine. She brought Jamie, and I'm like, wow. I'm saying, I'm about to give this girl the foot. I know it sounds like a dick move, but hey, I'm being real here. I'm being real. Yeah. And a couple years later, we started hanging out and went from there. Wow. Yeah, best thing ever, brother. Yeah. She's my partner in business. She came from corporate. I came from nothing. I just built my company from nothing, but she kind of guided me to kind of be more focused. And you guys support each other in the business. Like, she's very involved. Like she runs our Beverly Hills location. Yeah, that's where I saw her a couple times. Yeah, so she's very corporate. We got systems. We have a whole system that we go through. How do you guys support each other to continue staying at that level? What are things that you guys do together, maybe, or things that you guys could? I mean, we do pretty much everything together now because we have a lot more time. But to support each other, we're in the same mindset, right? We need to continue doing what we do together to continue the business, continue living here, right? Right. She's got her job duties. I got my job duties. Even though we work together, we typically don't see each other because she's in Beverly Hills. I'm all over the place. And she, like I said, we all have our duties, and if she wasn't doing her duties, we would not be here where we're at today. So she plays a huge part. She plays a huge part. Wow. Yeah. Everybody who works with me does. Lisa in LA, she's got her duties. She's a huge part of us. Everybody's got, we're talking about the guy linting the suits, right? He's got a huge part, I don't have time to lint, right? Yeah. How do you say? Roll? Keep rolling. Keep rolling, right? Yeah. So, I'm very happy to have everybody who I have around me, because without all these people, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Absolutely. There's no way I could do everybody's job and continue hustling if I wanted to do this. Yeah. Right? Yeah. What are a couple last things? I appreciate your time and I respect your time. What are things that you could share with the audience that they could go out today and implement to start getting in that environment and that proximity and believing, visualizing? Can you share with us maybe like your daily formula when you were out there on the grind every single day, when you were just had those blinders on? How did that day look like? So it's different than what it is today. So I'm assuming that everybody looking at this video is somewhat involved in sales, right? So since I've been in sales my entire life, you have to have a formula. And my formula, this is my day. I wake up when I was working full time, I'll wake up 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, and take time for myself. I'll visualize my day. I'll read. I'll think of all these positive things that I have to do throughout the day. Then I'll start my day at 8 in the morning. I'll have appointments 8, 9, 10, 11. Take a quick lunch, 1 and 2, and by 3 p.m. I was back on the phones cold calling. So that was my system every day, no matter what. So for me, I had to have 4 to 6 appointments every single day.
What happens if you didn't?
It didn't happen. I'll shoot myself. So I pretended I had a gun to my head. If I didn't make 6 appointments, boom, you know. It has to happen.
It's a must.
It's a must. And the must, I mean, it sounds crazy, but when you break it down to the ridiculous, this is the formula. 150 calls, cold calls a day. Out of 150 calls, I talk to 20 people. Out of those 20 people, I book 4 to 6 appointments every day.
And out of those
4 to 6 people, 2 fall off. They have something happens, something reschedule. I see 4 people, I sell 2. 2 don't buy, 2 buy. That's my formula. You have to have a formula. So
150 contacts. So you go
a day. That's 36,000 calls a year.
Wow.
So 150 calls, 20 contacts, 4 to 6 appointments. I was shooting for 6 every day, so I got 6 appointments. 2 fall out, they reschedule. 2 will not buy, and 2 will buy.
And then the 2 that will fall out, you continue following up.
You continue. Even the 2 that won't buy, that didn't buy, it's just timing. I continue following up on them because remember, I'm selling clothing.
The fortune's
right?
in the follow-up.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
In the follow-up.
The follow-up is huge for us. Huge. Huge.
That's a.
So, you want a system for success? There it was.
That's amazing. Is there some books that you recommend people to read?
And the other good part is, I'm an author as well. Yes, sir.
So what made you write a book, man?
You know what? First of all, English is my second language. I'm not the best at writing, and I was always scared. I've always wanted to write a book, but I didn't know how. You know, who's gonna edit it? I can't edit. I can't barely write. You know, I know how to write, but not like this. This was edited. Yeah. So, and today I'm writing my second book.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that book called?
It's gonna be called Tailor-Made Success for Entrepreneurs, with a measuring tape. So we're working on that second. That entire book will be all me. So I'm gonna have 10 chapters on breaking it down to the ridiculous, on how to get from point A to point B this way.
Wow. Let me ask you this, like with technology, before we finish off, because now that you're saying that you're writing a book, pretty much breaking down everything to the ridiculous, do you see yourself creating a system online where you could teach other people across the world how to get into your space, how to become an entrepreneur in the clothing bespoke clothing space? Mm-hmm. Do you see providing that for
I don't know for providing that part, but I see providing people that need my help when it comes to sales or marketing. Okay. Speaking. I want to do seminars.
Nice.
You know.
I see yourself doing that, man. You have like I had an event, one of my first events, and you were one of my speakers, and I got so much good feedback from people that your story, you made people cry.
Yeah, I cried.
You cried in that. Yeah, I remember.
I cried. You know, it's there's some points in my life that are very sensitive to me, and they hold a huge part of my heart. Especially almost losing my mom.
How was that for you?
Man, it was rough. It was rough. I never saw it coming. She got leukemia, and she died. She came this close to dying and came back strong. I still have her today. You know, and it was a rare thing having leukemia at that age for her, and I didn't see it coming. She's super healthy, working out twice a day, eating healthy, and all of a sudden, boom. You know, imagine me right now, and then imagine me tomorrow. I'm like this. You know, it's like whoa, right? It was hard for me. It was really, really hard for me. But I had to, come to, grasp saying, if it happens, it's gonna happen. If it doesn't, I need to somehow learn to move on. I can't stop my life, even though as hard as it sounds, it was really tough time for me. So that's why it hits my heart. And when I speak, I remember speaking at Stanford, I broke down too. Like I broke down at your event, and I had to take a back. I said, sorry guys, I had to take a back step. I said, take a deep breath and just go for it. That hits home hard.
Yeah. A lot of people relate to that, and I got so much good feedback from that because you came from the heart, and people loved it. That's it. People love authenticity, and that's what you bring it to the table. You're not pretending to be someone. You are who you are, and you're certain about it. You have that certainty that you know who you are and you know what you want, and you're going after it no matter what.
And exactly what you said is my mindset 20 something years, 30 years ago. If you have to know what you want and just go for it. Don't be scared. It's being fear, it's just a false thing that having fear of jumping off a cliff, that's scary, that's stupid, right? But fear of life, going out and door knocking,
and getting
my God, somebody's gonna say a no, who cares? The next person's gonna say a yes, right? And when that yes comes, it's the best feeling ever.
It's a rush, right?
Oh man, it's a rush.
And you just want to do it again.
You just want to do it again, especially when you get that sale.
Yeah.
So because I know you have a lot of people in real estate following you, and real estate guys, when you're knocking on those doors and then you finally get that sale, the average home here in California is about $500,000. Take your commission. Yes, right? It's just door knocking. You do that every day.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's key right there. Well, brother, man, thank you for taking the time to sit down with us. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I'm inspired more by you today, more every day, because just the things that you brought today are so powerful, and just you sharing your story, going through bankruptcy twice, 2 divorces, all this stuff that came to your life, and you still continue moving forward. You didn't stop, and you still kept your eye on your goal, and that's very powerful, because a lot of people would have fallen off. Would have thrown in the towel and would have been like, that's it. I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. Maybe this lifestyle's not for me. You had no excuses.
But you know what, though, Jeffrey, you inspire me too. I just want to say this for the record. I've watched you grow. Right? You've come to me, you've come to pick my brain several times, right? Which is, most people don't do it because they're scared, right? They think I'm gonna say no, right? They think, no, because he's this, no. You did it, right?
Yeah.
So I see your growth too, so you inspire me too, bud.
Thank
right?
you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you.
Thank you. Hope you guys got a ton of value. You guys gotta play this over and over again, because there's a lot of golden nuggets that he shared with us, a lot of systems that you guys could implement in your life, a lot of stories that could change. This could be a pivotal point for your life. I invite all of you guys to reach out to Art Lewin. Where can they find you on social media? And
you could just on Facebook, you could do Art Lewin, Instagram Art Lewin. My phone number is 800-994-SUIT. My website is artlewinbespoke.com.
Awesome, and like he said, he's out there looking for top sharp people that are looking to grow. And trust me, you guys want to get in this environment, because look what the environment has got him to. Proximity is power, and if you surround yourself with, I've always heard this quote that it says, if you hang around 7 broke people, within time you're gonna be that number 8. But if you hang around with 7 wealthy people, within time you're gonna be that number 8. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm seeking for, and I hope that this inspires you guys to do that for yourself as well. So thank you. Tune into the next episode and have a great day. Take care, y'all.